Hey guys, it's Kaitlin. Welcome back to another journal video. Today's video is going to be my August journal recap. So pretty much a little summary of how the month went in the various journals I was using. And also I'm going to be flipping through the pages that I completed during the month of August. This monthly recap is a little special because this is my first kind of monthly recap slash flip through where I'm going to be going through my newest planner, which is the Hobonichi Techo Cousin. I started this, I think, August 3rd, so I have a full month in here of the monthly pages, the weekly, and the daily pages, and I'm going to be flipping through them and talking about how all of it went. So previously in July, I had been using a bullet journal. So this month it definitely was a shift and adjustment, getting used to this planner, experimenting with this planner, but overall it's been really, really good. I've been really enjoying this planner slash I really use it as a planner and a journal slash all-in-one life book, but it's been really great and I'm excited to share with you how it looks. It was really fun actually to fill up, and yeah, it was a great month overall. So before I get into my Techo, I will quickly mention I am still using my Field Notes notebook. I just use this as kind of a casual, like messy notes slash on the go book slash if I need to write something down, I try to pull this out instead of my phone. So before I go into the main event of the video, I will just say I'm still using this and really enjoying it. I'm not going to flip through this because it literally looks like, let's find like the most recent page. It looks like this. So it's nothing incredibly interesting. I just use pen in here and write down random stuff. So not gonna flip through, but update, still going strong with this, still really enjoy this, and I think I'm almost, maybe not halfway, but I'm getting there. I'm getting to the halfway point, which is kind of cool, so that's been going really well. And now let's just go into the main event, which is really the only kind of main journal slash planner book that I'm using right now, which is the Hobonichi Techo Cousin. So one of the things I was very aware of this month while I was using my cousin was I was trying to keep a really close eye on how I was liking using the cousin, because the Hobonichi sale, or when the 2024 planners were released, happened on the final day of August for me because I live in Toronto. The shop opened the evening of August 31st, although it technically opened September 1st for those in Japan. So throughout the month, really what I was trying to kind of figure out was how am I liking this planner and do I like it enough to order another one for 2024? And I think my last video kind of spoiled that a bit because the short answer is yes, I have ordered another one of these, that actually this exact planner for 2024, but I'll go into why I've been liking it so much as I do the flip through. Oh, there we go. So starting on this page, this is how my habit tracker turned out for August. I started this planner with the intention of using this as a index page and quickly pivoted and kind of covered up the section that I'd started filling out and started using this as a habit tracker. And I'm very glad that I did that. The habit tracker format for me just works way better on this page, and it really helped me this month get a little bit better and more on track with some of the things that I had not been as on track with before tracking them as habits, which included things like taking my daily vitamins, drinking enough water every day. And one of the things I added as well, which was more just for interest, not because I wanted to necessarily do it every day, was when I played a game on my Nintendo Switch, which is this last column here, and then the column second to the right is when I was reading my book. So it was really interesting to see kind of out of the entire month how many days of the month I actually was reading or I was gaming. So that was kind of cool to track too, just to get that overview, which was really interesting. In case you're wondering what habits I track, from left to right, I track, did I write in my journal? Did I spend some quality time? So this could be seeing a friend, doing a self-care activity, reading a book, baking, things like that. Drinking enough water, taking my vitamins, filling my move ring on my Apple Watch, working out, filling my stand ring on my Apple Watch, going for a walk outside, and then if I read a book, I mark that here, and then if I played a game on my Switch. So a bunch of data going on here, but as you can see, as we got further down into the month, the kind of blank areas, which were really water and vitamins, started to fill out more. So this has been really great for me to help me get a little more consistent with doing those things, which has been cool. And I am continuing that into September. Alrighty, moving on to the monthly page. I don't think you've seen this page before, at least not in this kind of filled up state. This is where I do planning, but also journaling, and that's kind of a theme you'll see with my monthly, weekly, and daily pages. In the Cousin, they are very much this hybrid of kind of planning ahead, but also going back and actually documenting and archiving those memories that happened across the days, weeks, and months. So how I used this in August was I would write down any kind of appointments, dates, upcoming things in the monthly calendar so that I could know when those things were happening. So very traditional kind of monthly calendar usage. I also would write down things I had to do in advance that maybe didn't fall on a specific day. So general things like, I know every month I need to pay my credit bill, I need to pay my phone bill, and because I have bangs, every month I need to book a fringe trim because that's how often I need to cut my bangs. So just kind of general things like that I could write down here and either cross them out when they're done, or once I got to the week, it would act as a reminder for me to kind of migrate that thing into my weekly to-do list. So from a planning side, I did use this for tracking appointments, writing them down in advance, and then writing down that monthly to-do list. Then at the end of every week, I would kind of go back and referencing my weekly pages, I would go ahead and fill out the high-level events that happened during the week so that I kind of had this really nice high-level overview of the main events that happened during the month in this spread. So I didn't write down every single thing, but I did write down kind of notable things like, let's see, when we went mini putting, other kind of highlights like when I went to a concert, when I went for dinner, when I made some tiramisu, and when I helped move my sister back to university. So just like kind of those high level key moments of the month that I wanted to kind of highlight in the spread. And then after I finished filling it out, that is when I actually went in and added a tiny bit of decoration. I think this is probably a common theme that you'll see in the pages, but I don't like to overly decorate my planner. I like to add a little bit of decoration here and there, but for the most part, I like to keep it on the low-key end of the spectrum, just because I find that if I get too focused on the decorating, it can lead to a lot of overthinking and overwhelm and then decision paralysis, and then I stop using my planner. And for me, at the end of the day, while the decoration is fun, the actual writing and documenting is the most important thing to me, and that is the priority with this. So that's why I kind of keep the decoration on just a more like simple side, just to add like little accents here and there. That's how I approach it. On the bottom here, at the end of the month, I added the TV shows and movies I watched on the left. So I just wrote TV shows and movies and then wrote them all in a list like this. And then on the right page, this is where I wrote down all the books and video games that I read/played during the month. So I did not finish all of these books, but I wanted to write down everything that I either read and finished or read and was still currently reading. So that is what's going on here, and the same applies for the video games. Next, we go to the weekly pages, and because I started this planner in August, you would actually see it here as well for the monthlies. I don't have any back dating or back planning in the months previous to August. When I got this planner, I made the decision that I didn't want to do that because it just is a lot of work, and I didn't really want to focus on filling out past events when I wanted to see if the routine of using the journal worked for me. So instead, I just kind of focused on forming that routine and filling out the existing pages for the week. So that's why this page is blank. But for the weeklies, they start on this page, which is the end of July, beginning of August. And I did backfill, I think, these 3 days just because I didn't receive my hobonichi. Yeah, I got my hobonichi in the mail on August 3rd, but I thought it made sense to fill out these 3 days because it was part of the same spread. But the weeklies, similarly to the monthlies, do act as kind of that planning space for me. I would say maybe a little more memory keeping and documenting focused than planning. The only planning I do here is I keep my weekly to-do list on the side. Besides that, I don't write in any appointments or upcoming things on the weekly spread. I usually use my monthly spread to reference those things, and part of that is because at work we use Outlook, so my meeting calendar is actually on Outlook, and in the past I've tried to write that down, but with the type of work I do as a designer, I find that, and I'm sure this isn't limited to people like me who design, but I always find the meetings that I have at the beginning of the day and the meetings I actually end up going to are two very different things, and things tend to shift and change quite easily. So because of that, when I'm at work, I just rely on my digital calendar to tell me what I'm doing during the day. And besides that, if I have any appointments, I'll just look at my monthly calendar and I can see them quite easily. So really the only planning is the to-do list on the left. The main kind of weekly spread here this month, I have been using it as kind of a document of every day. So kind of very high level, what are the things that happened during the day? I draw this line here at 12 o'clock on the timeline with my pencil because I'm not awake after 12 ever. And instead of using this section for writing down memories, I've repurposed it to kind of be a section where I can write down the different things that I was consuming that day. So the TV shows I was watching, any movies, books, and video games, which I really enjoyed this month as well. It's really cool to track that and see it at the end of the month because I forgot about a bunch of things that I watched and read and played that I actually really enjoyed. So again, just cool to kind of keep track of that here. On the kind of day section of each week, again, I just kind of write down high level what happened that day. I will start every day by writing down the weather just because I find it really interesting to track that, and it kind of makes it easier to start each day because you know exactly what you're gonna write down and it's really simple, which is cool. And then yeah, I just kind of list out what I did every day, and at the end of the week I will kind of look at the empty spaces in my week and I will add a couple stickers where I feel like they kind of fit well into the spread. So this week I added this PET tape cutout from the All the Flowers PET tape by our studio, and then I added a gold star sticker here, which is from Amazon. This next week is pretty full, so I didn't really add a lot of stickers, and that's part of why I like to decorate after so that I have the room to write how much I need, and then I can kind of fill in those blank spaces later. But very similar approach. This is the kind of spread where I decided how the format would be when I started it, and it just kind of clicked into place right away and worked really well, and I just kept it up for the rest of the month. I added this circle sticker by Soutelier here, and then I also added this cat PET tape by Peon, which I think works really well together. This is a week where I didn't really decorate too much, just because I talked about this in a couple videos, but because I have to fill out, or because I'm choosing to fill out these pages every week, day, month, I don't want to have the pressure to fully decorate them all the time. So some weeks you'll see I do maybe like 1 sticker to no stickers, just because I don't want to have to do like a ton of stickering every single week, and I want to try to keep it reasonable in terms of the amount of time that I want to spend doing the stickering and the decorating. So this week I kept it pretty simple, and then the week after, I don't think I didn't do any stickering, just because it was a very full week, so I didn't really feel the need to add anything. This week is the current week that we're on, so we just finished this week. It's Monday the 4th. Happy Labor Day. And for this one, I added a cutout from our studio, All the Flowers PET tape, as well as this is, you cannot really see it, but it's a dot sticker from Soutelier as well. And yeah, again, to-do list on the left, things I consumed, watched, played, read, and then a log of what I did during the week. And I really, really like this weekly spread. Part of me wonders if it would be fun to try the A6 Techo, and that was something that I was kind of thinking and mulling over as the hobonichi reveals were shown. But what caused me to stick with the cousin and order a cousin once the sale happened on the 1st was I love the weeklies so much that I don't think I'd want to give them up. And I also just like the space of the A5 book and having this much room to write. So yeah, the weeklies definitely are a high point for me when it comes to the cousin. Alrighty, now we are onto the daily pages, which is my favorite section of the planner. I know I just said I love the weeklies, but the dailies are truly the star of the show, for me at least. And I definitely found that the biggest adjustment with this planner was getting used to kind of using the dailies, writing in the dailies. And when I started this planner, I had this idea that I needed to fill up the entire page. So you'll see in the first couple of pages, I think maybe the first 2 weeks, the pages are quite full every single day. And by, I think, August 14th, I I discovered that that mindset was not necessarily the most realistic for me, especially because as a human being, not every day I have is, has enough going on that I would want to write this much about it. So I quickly kind of pivoted and adjusted my expectations around that to just kind of focus on writing something for the day and focusing less on actually filling up the space. So you'll kind of notice that as the month progresses, but I'm very proud to say I did write every day on these pages. Some of the pages I would do maybe the day after or a couple days later, but I did always go back and fill them out, which I'm very pleased with. I think that was cool, and I like having this really in-depth record of all my days and just having this really interesting breakdown of everything I did in the month. In terms of what I do for my dailies, I kind of take a flexible approach for them. I like to use the kind of 2 columns that Hobonichi has created on these pages, and normally I use the right one for journaling about my day. And then depending on the day, I'll use the left one either as a to-do list, or if I don't need a to-do list, I will use the space for journaling. Maybe if I want to write down a list, I'll add that here too. And I'll just kind of decorate over the page wherever I want. In terms of the decorating, I mainly stick to pasting in photos from my printer. I use a really basic laser printer that I bought for university, so it's not a special photo printer, but I like that I can print my photos on copy paper, so they're really thin. So they don't add a lot of bulk to the book, hopefully. And then I like to add kind of these geometric stickers from Soutelier, as well as PET tape cutouts from Peon and Art Studio. So you'll kind of see those sprinkled in there throughout the daily pages. And just like my weeklies, I like to take the approach of not decorating every single page and just kind of adding accents here and there as needed. So we're not like making it too wild and too kind of high maintenance for us to keep up with, because yeah, again, writing down the memories is the most important part. So let's see, on this day, I pasted in the album cover for Harry's House because I was listening to it and really enjoying it. It was the first time I listened to the album straight through, and it was really good. So I commemorated that here. And you'll see that I paste in album covers, photos if I've taken one, and then also I'll paste in like screen caps from video games if I want to include those as well. And I just kind of paste in what I want and what I feel like I want to document in my journal. So there's really no rules when it comes to what makes it into my journal and what doesn't. These are some photos from the mini golf course that we went to. This is, so originally I'd pasted in this dragon photo because I was reading a book about dragons, and I decided to cover it up because I wasn't enjoying the book as much, but also I kind of realized through experimenting that I didn't really like this kind of cutout appearance in my journal, and I wasn't really liking the book either, so I didn't want to look at a dragon every time I flipped through the page. So what I did was I used some washi tape and a piece of memo paper from the memo books, and I just covered it over and kind of created this little flap. And then I put a piece of PET tape from our studio here as well. And I kind of discovered through the month I really liked matching my decorations to the color of the month. So in the Hobonichi Cousin, I'll show you, in case you're new like I am, each month has a different color. So January's is like this red color, February's is brown, March is purple, April is pink, May is green, and then so on and so forth. So for August, the color was blue. So I didn't match like the blues perfectly. I kind of just aimed for anything in the blue family that I felt matched relatively well with the color, but I thought it was kind of cool to have this kind of monotone decoration scheme, and it kind of tied in the photos that were maybe a little different in color or didn't necessarily match the color of the month, and kind of brought them in and brought them together really nicely. So that was really fun, and it kind of creates this fun opportunity to use more of my PET tape roll instead of just focusing on my personal favorites. I can kind of pick different pieces of it based on the color of the month, so I can actually use it more, which I thought was really cool. Oh, so on this day, I actually, as I was learning how to write in this book, I kind of developed like a formula for my spacing on the pages. So I would kind of start my writing one space after the delineating line here. And on this day, I accidentally wrote a little too far, and I didn't like how it looked, so I just covered it up with a sticky note and pasted it over top, which is why it looks like that. On this day, I was playing Minish Cap. I started replaying it this day, so I took some screenshots on my Nintendo Switch, and I printed them out with my standard printer, and then I kind of tipped it in with this washi tape. And something you'll notice that started here that's kind of carried over the rest of the dailies is for any video game that I'm playing, I started on the day that I was playing it, keeping a list of the different things that I did in the game that day. So for Minish Cap, I would kind of keep track of the different high-level locations, events, kind of main quest accomplishments that I did, and it was kind of cool because throughout the month, I would keep track of these things. So as you flip through, you'll see the different things I did each day while playing the game. So it kind of acts as this really cool play log that's like attached to the day I did it. So really interesting way I found looking back to see how I progressed through the game and how it went. So that was kind of fun, and that's an example of like a list that I kept in my journal in this kind of to-do list section as well, in addition to using this for journaling. On this day, I stuck in a receipt that I got when I went with my friend for brunch. So I just taped it up because I didn't want to paste it in and lose all of this journal space. Yeah, so the 13th is where I kind of broke the I need to journal every day for the full page mantra. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna write how much I need to and not worry about it and let that go, because writing this much every day is just it's not feasible for me. It's not realistic. And I like having the option to write. I think it's good because on some days when I have a lot going on, I can really include the details I want to, but for other days, like I don't need all that space, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with not filling up the page, and that's something that I kind of figured out and accepted as I journaled throughout this month. Here I wrote down a mini review of Only Murders in the Building because I just started watching season 3, so I used this section to kind of write down my thoughts on how I was liking the show. On this day, I got my R Studio PET tape that you've seen littered throughout this journal. So I took a photo to commemorate it, and then I pasted on the little sticker that comes on the top of the PET tape, and coincidentally, it matched the color of the month, which was kind of cool. On this day, I went to a concert with my sister. We got really cheap tickets to the Jonas Brothers concert in Toronto, and it was really fun. So to commemorate it, I pasted a photo of their most recent album. And then I had taken this photo at the concert, and I really liked the photo, but I did not love the color scheme. So what I did was I put the photo in black and white so that I could still include it, but not kind of dislike the colors every time I saw it. So that was kind of a fun hack to, like avoid the actual colors bothering me, but still include the memory and document it. Here I wrote down some of my favorite hobonichi reveal designs. You'll notice a couple like journal things happening, and part of that is because this was the month where they were releasing a bunch of stuff for hobonichi, so I wanted to kind of track that and document that in my journal as well. This is another PET tape cutout from our studio. Ooh, I really like this spread. So here I pasted in a photo on the day I was making tiramisu because I like to take photos of the things I bake. And On the left here, I purchased a new bag from Oakenfort. So what I did was I kept the tag because I really liked it, but I found when I was thinking of putting it in my journal that it was really thick and it was gonna bulk up the pages a lot. So what I did, and I think I saw Jane use this technique, but I actually peeled part of the paper off of the tag because there was kind of 2 pieces of cardstock stuck together for this tag. So I peeled the back one off, and that dramatically took down the thickness of the tag. So I was able to kind of paste it in without it being much thicker than the printer paper I normally use. And I just added this sticker from, again, Soutelier. I really like their stickers. They're really like geometric and simple. And yeah, I think they just kind of pair well with the different kind of photos and tickets I have been sticking in here. So I think this just kind of worked really well together. So this is definitely one of my favorite spreads of the month. Here I started playing Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, which is an older Pokemon game. And for people wondering how I fill up any part of my journal, a lot of it is not a lot of it is just kind of writing down details that I find interesting, and not really anything that I think some people would consider like especially relevant, but I like to keep track of. So for example, here I made a list of all the Pokemon that I caught in my game. So yeah, that was how I took up that amount of space. But I don't know, I find it really interesting. I'm kind of a details person, so I like to see all of that information. I like to see when I played something, what I did, all of that progress. So part of where I really like using this bigger journal is because I like to write down a lot of details. The pages allow me to do that, and yeah, I just kind of like having all this stuff documented. And here is the last page of the dailies. This was obviously an exciting day because the Hobonichi store opened and I was able to place my order at like 10 p.m. in the evening. So of course I stuck in my like receipt that I got from the store just so I could document that and keep that in my journal. Very meta, a Hobonichi receipt within a Hobonichi, but a good way to end the month. So yeah, that was all of my dailies. I'll do maybe like a quick flip through of all of them for you right now, so you can kind of see them all together. So yeah, overall, I found that the dailies definitely started out being a little more work than I wanted. And then as soon as I kind of let go of journaling the entire page every day, that's when it got a lot easier. And as I kind of started doing the dailies more, I also got into the habit of journaling in them. And what I found really helped kind of carve out the time to actually spend daily journaling, because this does take like, I don't know, like 10 to 15 minutes a day to journal about your day, was I would actually do this instead of like watching Netflix, or while watching Netflix actually a lot of the time, and essentially substitute this for activities that I would just kind of do to like shut my brain off and weren't really kind of high value activities. And that also really helped me stay consistent with filling these out every day. All right. In terms of the back pages, these are pretty much the same as when I set them up. I have my things that I spent on stationery in August spending tracker here, which is being tracked. and hoping we can bring this graph down by the end of the year. And then I have my restaurants that I went to during the year, so added a couple for August. But yeah, still really liking this. Last thing is my commonplace book, which is looking like this right now. So I haven't filled this out too much, but that's fine because I plan to kind of take this with me throughout the planners, and it's just meant to be a spot to hold knowledge so that it's not being dispersed over my various journals and notebooks. So that's how this looks right now. I just have some notes on the cousin, and then these are some notes on the cognitive revolution, which is a part of the book called Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, which is by Yuval Noah Harari. So added some stuff here on that. All right, and that was kind of the recap of how the journaling went throughout the month, as well as the flip through of my cousin. Overall, things are going really well. I have ordered another cousin for 2024, so excited to keep filling out this journal and then start a new one for the new year. But I hope you enjoyed seeing a flip through of all my pages. If you have any questions about anything, let me know below and I can definitely answer them. But I hope all of you had a wonderful August. I hope you have an even better September, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye, everybody.